to become a self-help author was itself edited by the head of the personality theory division of MK Ultra, a CIA division. So certainly, just in terms of the whole self-help, sort of psychology, and sort of her brand of getting symbolic or something like that, there's certainly things to be suspicious of there. I'm not just endorsing her, but what I have to say, though, is that I really do think that the way that Marianne Williamson was communicating was very effective in sort of establishing a different tenor, sort of coming across in terms of registering pain and grief that many people are feeling right now, as opposed to, Bernie Sanders, much more a guy in my wheelhouse or something like that. But, Bernie Sanders is basically always mad. He's just mad at the corporations. He's mad at the other candidates for not realizing how bad the corporations are. He's consistently mad and has this sort of fighting mentality, which makes a lot of sense. He's still doing pretty well. Or Elizabeth Warren, I think also, well, she was getting more into discussing the pain of somebody who, had bad medical care and stuff like that. And so she has sort of more of the ability to, get into more an emotional register. But, Marianne Williamson is out there being overtly spiritual, talking about dark psychic forces, talking about our corporate overlords, just using the kinds of terminology that resonate a lot, for example, with me, but I think also with a lot of other Americans that you don't normally hear from somebody like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, or even, Tulsi Gabbard or Andrew Yang, but we'll get to Andrew Yang in a moment, especially for the intersection with the ecological theme coming up in the rest of the show. But I just wanted to underscore, the role that Marianne Williamson was playing in the debate and in our national discourse of sort of talking about how, it's not just about plans, it's not just about fixing policy or, speaking to people's interests, stuff like that. It's also about emotional communication. It's also about, picking up or sort of showing that, it's important and that you're paying attention to how other people feel. And that's something that, is missing from a lot of our political arguments and discussions. It's lots of times, we'll be debating with somebody else, and we might understand. So, for example, we're both mad at each other, the two people that are arguing. I think my family member is racist, so I'm mad at them for being racist. And, they think that I'm undercutting what America's supposed to be or something. So they're mad at me because I don't understand how important it is, how America's supposed to be or something. And I'm mad at them because, they're racist. They, are obviously channeling into hatred, some of their insecurities and all these kinds of things. But, Marianne Williamson's perspective, or, what I feel her sort of bringing to the table, is more of the perspective of, before I'm mad, I'm at least going to register what it is that you're feeling, and give the appropriate attention to the fact that, lots of times when people are lashing out, when people are violent or angry, it's coming, as I said, from insecurity, but too often, we adopt a sort of bully perspective of, oh, haha, you're insecure, like, oh yeah, white people are going to be the minority, like, rubbing it in kind of stuff, or something like that. Not that, white people being in the minority is really anything to be concerned about. White people have been in the minority of the world population since we've existed, or whatever. But, the point is that you're sort of reinforcing that people should be upset, and you're saying, haha, you are upset. And in that way, you're sort of keeping them stuck where they are, because you're reinforcing it. Whereas, a more emotionally literate perspective would be to sort of be engaging not on the level of anger and towards of contradiction, like, no, it's not black people, it's the corporate overlords, or whatever it is that you're trying to get through to, your racist uncle or whatever it is. But before that, it's like, well, think about, that person, who is just the racist, or, the person like me who's trying to sell out America if you're a conservative or something like that. It's just like, well, what are the emotional causes? What are the things that are going on in somebody that are leading them to adopt these more and more extreme positions? And, if we are able to think through that before we have our, first reaction of, oh, that's bad, I'm getting angry at them, that will help us to see more possibilities and avoid just having the same bad argument over and over again. I'm going to come back to, one of the things that came up during the debate was, people kept talking about Republican talking points and saying that Bernie Sanders, for example, called out CNN for using the Republican talking point of, oh, Medicare for all will raise taxes. And the Democratic candidates basically didn't want to say that they would raise taxes